So what are some key challenges faced by companies in London when they're trying to do IT management, support, or upgrades? I'd probably say one of the biggest ones is the financial implications, especially in London. A lot of people may see an IT project as the sum of its parts, but then you also have to consider the support behind it. With quite a big challenge in London is finding trustworthy vendors. It's such a large city with such a saturated market and so many different industries that it doesn't really matter where you go or what you're looking for. You'll always find someone that can seem to offer it at a cheaper price. It is one of those industries where cheaper almost definitely is never better. So if you get some quotes from some trusted IT vendors or trusted IT vendors and you think, oh, that's probably too good to be true, it more than likely is. There's quite a lot of people offering very, very good packages at very, very good prices. But it's not until you're locked into a 5-6 year contract that you realise, oh, actually, this probably isn't the one for me. Another very large challenge that many businesses in London have is the growing threat of cybercrime. With London being the kind of hub for finance and business of the entire UK, it ends up being the target for quite a lot of cybercrime attacks. So if you're operating in London, you probably find that you're getting a lot more spam emails or a lot more attacks than many other places in the country, just purely because of the location. Unfortunately, there's not too many ways of completely preventing this, but there is a lot of things you can put in place to help against it happening. On the topic of cybercrime, there is quite a large risk of relying completely on one IT individual in your company. Quite a few companies have one person that maybe is a bit tech literate that they go to as their kind of IT person in-house. Now, this does work for some businesses and there are quite a lot of skilled individuals that are operating in this position, but they generally find that they become overwhelmed with the level of tickets. Quite a lot of customers I speak to is that they have very, very good in-house IT people. However, the projects that they need to get completed are taking longer and longer and longer because it's building up that workload. So in situations like that, it can be a bit of a risk to have that one point of failure, because if that person goes off sick or if they're unavailable or if they're behind on their workload, then you could be open to a threat coming into your company. So what sort of attacks can people become victims of? I'd probably say the most common one is the phishing email. Everyone receives them, everyone's probably seen them. You get a little email that comes through that basically says, oh hi, please enter your details to view this file. 99% of the time they're very, very easy to spot. You kind of look at it and go, okay, yeah, this Nigerian prince has definitely not given me £1 million. But on the backhand of that, there are some very, very good ones out there. So I'll tell you a story. There was a customer we had in London. They received a phishing email, looked very legitimate. It was actually targeted specifically to this customer because it had all their correct details in it, and it was coming from supposedly a customer of theirs, which the name and all the details of that customer were accurate. So when they actually clicked on the link to go log in, there was a perfectly animated, really, really accurate Microsoft login page. Now, I won't lie, even I almost fell for it, and I've seen these on the daily, and I've been through a lot of them. It looked so authentic that it almost fooled me. So it wasn't until we actually looked into the source code of it that it did actually steal the email address and password and send it to a Twitter account of all places. So it was actually being fed all the information through Twitter. I suppose that's just how they were getting it to manage it automatically. Unfortunately with this, this was a remediation, so there was no preventing it. It already happened. They called us in after it had already happened, and we reset all the passwords, upped the security, and put everything in place that we need to put in. So this is one of those kind of disaster stories of where it's too little too late, unfortunately. So thankfully we were able to get that customer nice and protected, and they're now operating pretty well. They still get lots of phishing emails, but we prevent a lot of them from going through to the inboxes. So what are some of the benefits of actually outsourcing your IT? So in quite a few different things that I've said previously, they all come down to cost, workload, and availability. And they can be on one person or it can be on a team of people. If it's costing too much to run a team of people and then still not available, then the benefit of outsourcing some or all of your IT can save you a lot of money, save you a lot of time, increase efficiency. So if you've got an internal IT person that's got a massive workload of very, very specific projects to you, and they don't have time to be managing all of their kind of tickets coming in saying, oh, please reset my password, then you can outsource some of that workload to an MSP, and then keep that internal IT person on board to finish off those internal projects. So outsourcing, as a summary, is essentially trusting a third-party business such as MF Telecom Services to manage all of your IT infrastructure, be that your day-to-day desktop support or installing a new rack of servers in your head office. It just means that you don't have to rely on one point of failure, and you have a team of skilled individuals that are working for you, rather than having one or two internal IT people that might not necessarily have the skill set to fulfill your requirements.